an unseen prologue in the book that we never see in the show. This is a tandem read and watch of Heated Rivalry. Heated Rivalry is one of the best book-to-screen adaptations I've ever seen. But there are some things in the book that never made it to screen, and there's some things that are in the show that weren't actually in the book. Today we're diving into episode 1, which is chapters 1 through 8. When I read the book and watched the show, I took detailed notes about everything happening in each chapter and then everything that was happening in the episode as well, so that I could follow along with what was happening in the book, what was happening in the show, and see what was the same and what was different. The show opens up with Ilya smoking outside in Regina, Saskatchewan, and Shane approaching him. But that's not how the book starts. The book actually starts with a prologue in 2016. So this is many years into their relationship. And then for chapter 1, it does a time jump back to that 2008 Saskatchewan scene. But the prologue is 2016. They are at Shane's building. This is another big difference from the book and the show. In the show, we see Ilya over at Shane's apartment multiple times. In the book, Ilya does not go to Shane's home. Shane actually buys an entire separate building that he uses just for him and Ilya to meet. He has like the top floor in the building that he turns into like a home just for him and Ilya to meet up. And then he rents out the other floors to like a kitchen space for a business and things like that. So in the prologue, it's 2016. They're meeting at Shane's secret building, and it is just after a game that they play together. And this prologue is told entirely from Shane's point of view. And in this prologue, he's just thinking like, this has to stop. We can't keep doing this. Like, I need to cut it off. But then obviously when he's with Ilya, he's the happiest he's ever been. So Shane really just can't say no to his true feelings. Chapter 1 opens up in 2008, Regina, Saskatchewan. And in the show, it's like this scene where Shane and Ilya meet outside and Shane introduces himself. But in the book, it actually starts from like an Ilya point of view, and it's Ilya on the ice. This is like the World's Junior Championship, which is what they call it in the book. And I think that that's what it's called in hockey in real life. In the show, they call it like the International Perspective Cup. But chapter 1 opens Ilya on the ice practicing, and he sees Shane. And Ilya has heard about Shane Hollander all the way in Russia. And he's like, I need to meet this amazing Shane Hollander. He sounds like one of the best hockey players ever. And so the entire time Ilya is practicing, he's just plotting out a way in his head to find Shane, which in the show, it seems like Shane is the one like seeking out Ilya. In the book, it's the opposite. Shane does end up like going outside, and that whole smoking scene happens as well. But it's Ilya searching for Shane first. And then Ilya's coach actually like yells at him because he's like, Ilya, you need to pay attention, because Ilya's just trying to find Shane. And then like even after practice, he's like running around the arena trying to find Shane. So I love that like in the book, it's like very apparent that Ilya is pursuing Shane just as much as like Shane is into Ilya. So I love that cute little detail. So that's chapter 1. And then chapter 2, it fast forward to the draft. And we obviously know that Ilya is the number 1 draft pick. Shane is the number 2 draft pick. It happens pretty much the same in the book as it does in the show. The only thing is we get their thoughts more in the book. So Shane, during this draft, keeps thinking how like mature and manly Ilya seems like, when really they're the exact same age. I think in the book their birthdays are only like a month apart, like May and June or something like that. So Shane still feels like very like teenager kid, but he views Ilya as like grown. And And so we get Shane's inner thoughts during that process as well. And then that is when the gym scene happens also. And that does play out pretty similarly. The only thing is in the show, they're like racing on spin bikes, and in the book, it's treadmills. But pretty similar. And then chapter 3 is when they are playing against each other for the first time, I believe. And they're in Ottawa. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Oh, I think Ilya's playing in Ottawa, versing Ottawa. Yeah, that makes sense. But when he's in Ottawa, because that's Shane's hometown, he sees Shane ads everywhere, like Shane Hollander ads everywhere. And it reinforces to Ilya, like, how big of a deal Shane is. Like, obviously, Ilya knows that because he heard about Shane Hollander in Russia. But now he's, like, seeing Shane Hollander everywhere in Ottawa, which we don't see that in the show. This is also, I believe, the scene where Ilya's like in the hotel room and he's like watching that French interview with Shane, and Alexei calls asking for more money. Also, Alexei's name in the book is Andre. That was different. I think I saw in an interview that Jacob Tierney said that he just like forgot what the brother's name was and thought it was Alexei when it like really wasn't. Like that was like a mistake. And during this time too, Ilya is like seeking out a bunch of different girls because he already can't get Shane off of his mind even after that gym scene. And then Shane, after the gym scene, is noticing men more because in the book, during the draft and the gym scene, Shane actually has a girlfriend. And during the gym scene, he's like thinking of Ilya the whole time. And then when Shane gets back to his hotel room, he's like, oh my God, wait, I forgot I had a girlfriend. I have to break up with her. Because he was just thinking about Ilya the entire time. So he does break up with his girlfriend. And Shane is like, oh, maybe I do like guys. So that's chapter 3. Chapter 4 is the ad that they're in together. And we know that Ilya planned that because Ilya could not stop thinking about Shane after the gym and seeing his ads everywhere. And that does play out pretty similar to in the show, but in the book there's a lot more like dialogue happening in the shower, just because obviously like an author as a writer, they can't visually show you what's happening. So there's like a more conversation happening between Shane and Ilya as well. The 1410 room number thing is the same. Oh, when they're in the hotel room, because we obviously get more inside their heads what's happening in the book, and Ilya is having trouble like speaking and thinking in English because like he's so overwhelmed, like gladly overwhelmed emotionally, mentally, physically by everything that's happening, that he's like, I can't even speak English. I can't think in English right now. So I thought that was like a little detail that obviously we didn't get to see in the show. So that's all chapter 4. And then chapter 5 is when Ilya does the, no, I'm going to score 50 goals, liar. And they, oh yeah, this is Shane and Ilya's first game against each other in it's called I'm pretty sure it's called the NHL in the book. They call it the MLH in the show. And the teams are also different in the book. So in the book, Ilya plays for the Boston Bears, and it's the Boston Raiders in the show. And then in the book, Shane plays for the Montreal Voyagers, and it's the Montreal Metros in the show. So I'm assuming like all of that stuff is just like copyright stuff with the actual NHL. So they play against each other. Boston loses. That's when there's another like Alexei Andre call in the book. Oh no, this was the chapter where he sees him speaking French. Okay, so I misconstrued that. So that was after their first game together. Oh yeah, because I remember the reporter was like asking questions. We see this in the show about like Ilya, and Shane's just like being so like his perfect PR answer, like, oh, I'm just glad that like we won or whatever. So then chapter 6 is, the All-Star game now we're in 2011. So it's already been like a couple of years. And Ilya can't stop thinking about Shane and loves playing against him. I don't think we see this All-Star game in the show, now that I'm thinking about it. This is also the press conference. So we see the press conference scene in the show. I don't know if we see them actually playing against each other in the show. If you remember that, let me know in the comments. We do, because that's 1-2-2-1. So I don't think we see them playing against each other in the show. We just see them doing that like fast puck shooting competition, where like Shane beats Ilya's time like immediately and Ilya beats Scott Hunter's time. So we don't see them actually playing the game against each other, but we do get that in the book. Then we see the shootout competition. Scott Hunter is not there at all in this. It's just like a random hockey player. I think they just like inserted Scott Hunter into the show to like make it more cohesive with like the episode 3. So we have 1-2-2-1. They make a plan to meet up again. And then we get the Jane and Lily text exchange and stuff like that. Here's where the book is different than the show. In the show, when they go to meet up 2 weeks later, Boston's plane gets canceled. Like there's snow or something. Remember when Marlo and Ilya are like at the airport and Marlo's like, oh, this Montreal girl must really have you disappointed or whatever. Like we'll be in Montreal again. But like it's really because Ilya wants to go be with Shane. But that flight cancellation doesn't happen in the book. So Ilya and Shane do meet up, and this is like the first time they're like fully together, and we still get that like come here, no you come here. We get like all of that. It just happens like years earlier in the book than it does in the show. So yeah, there was no flight cancellation. I think like in the book, it gets like delayed like a year, or sorry, in the show it gets delayed like a year or two because they're just like texting for a year or something. But in the book it happens like immediately, like 2 weeks after 1-2-2-1. So it's like in the book it's like them very consistently seeing and being with each other, where in the show it seems like not as much. It's like more just like texting throughout the years. That's not the case in the book. Like they're constantly with each other. And Shane, like we said, we get more of their thoughts. Shane wishes that Ilya stayed after it like stayed the night. So even at the beginning, this is February 2011. So really still beginning in their relationship, and they're already like very emotional about each other. And then chapter 8 is the Las Vegas scene, the penthouse scene. We know that Shane went, just kidding. Not the penthouse scene. I lied. This is not those awards yet. That's next episode. Just kidding. This is Las Vegas, but it's when Shane wins Rookie of the Year. And he can't find Ilya, and Ilya's up on the rooftop. There's also no Scott Hunter in this scene either. The Scott Hunter edition was just like added to the show, so that's not included in this chapter. It's where Shane obviously then goes to find Ilya on the rooftop. Ilya's going back to Russia for the summer, and obviously Ilya is like really sad about it. He doesn't want to go back to Russia. He doesn't want to leave Shane. He's very like in turmoil about his feelings. Shane doesn't get any of that. Like these boys need to learn how to communicate. They have the kiss on the rooftop, and they're both sad as to how it ends. And that's the end of chapter 8, and that's the end of episode 1. And then after chapter 8 in the book is actually like broken up into parts. So that's the end of part 1 in the book. And then part 2 actually starts 18 months later. So we leave off in June 2011, and then we do like a big time jump going into part 2 and episode 2. Let me know if you have any comments or questions about the differences between the book and the show.